Hey everyone, ready to explore some seriously deep stuff about family and the choices we make when life throws us a curveball.
Yeah, definitely.
So today we're going to be diving deep into B. Celeste's novel, The Truth About Us.
Oh, I love this book.
I know, right? It's so powerful.
It really makes you think.
It does. And we're going to be focusing on these excerpts about a family dealing with their son's hearing impairment.
This is such a tough topic for a lot of people.
It is, and the author really tackles it head on. It gets you thinking about those tough choices parents face and how love can hold a family together even when things get hard.
It's like, how do you handle those big life changes? This book really digs into that.
Exactly. So right away, we meet Oliver and Charlie James. They're a couple with this 14-year age gap, which already makes things kind of interesting.
They're definitely not your typical couple.
No, not at all. And they've just had their son, Milo, but their joy kind of gets overshadowed because Milo fails his newborn hearing test.
Oh, wow. That's got to be a huge shock.
It is. And the way the author captures the parents' reactions, it's like you're right there with them in that moment when everything changes.
It's so raw, so real.
It is. And it's fascinating how Oliver and Charlie react in completely different ways.
Yeah, like how Charlie instantly blames herself, right? The guilt and fear just consume her.
Yeah, and she even says something like she feels this gaping hole in her heart. Such a powerful image.
It's like the weight of the world just landed on her.
Exactly. But then there's Oliver. He's totally optimistic. Like he sees Milo as fucking perfect despite the diagnosis.
That's so interesting. It shows how different people cope.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder how our own worldview shapes how we handle the unexpected.
That's a really good point.
Like, are we open to adapting or do we resist change? It's a big question the book makes you think about.
It is. And it's not just their inner struggles. They're also dealing with judgment from outside for their age gap.
Oh yeah, that adds another layer of complexity to their story for sure.
It's like everyone has an opinion.
They do.
Yeah.
But you see their love for each other, and for Milo, it just seems to grow stronger because of all these challenges.
That's the amazing thing about love, isn't it?
It is. And that strength is really put to the test when they have to decide about cochlear implants for Milo.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is. This is where the story gets really interesting because it raises all these big questions about identity, belonging, and what we consider normal.
Right. Like, what does it mean to be deaf in a hearing world?
Exactly. And for Charlie, her fear just takes over. She's terrified of the surgery, the risks, what it might mean for Milo.
She's trying to protect him.
She is. There's this line where she says, "He doesn't know what I sound like," and it just breaks your heart.
It shows how deep her love is, but also her fear of the unknown.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember, the decision about cochlear implants is so personal.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer.
Exactly. And the novel does a great job of presenting both sides.
You can see the struggle.
Yeah. Oliver, on the other hand, he believes in technology. He thinks cochlear implants will give Milo all these opportunities, let him experience sound, make things easier in a world that's built for hearing people.
It's like he's putting his faith in progress.
He is. And it makes you think, what would you do in that situation? What factors would you consider?
It's a decision a lot of families have to grapple with.
And the novel doesn't give easy answers, which I appreciate.
It makes you really think.
It does. And as they go back and forth, you can feel the tension,
Yeah.
but also their love for Milo.
They just want what's best for him.
Exactly. And that tension, it spills over into their interactions with their extended family, too.
Oh, so it's not just between them.
No, it affects everyone around them. Like Oliver's childhood friend, Everett. He used to judge Oliver for being with Charlie because of the age difference.
I bet he had a lot to say about that.
He did. But now he's the one offering support, reminding Oliver that they're making a thoughtful decision no matter what anyone else thinks.
Wow, so he's come around.
He has. It shows how relationships can change, especially when things get tough.
People can surprise you.
They can. But then we see this opposite reaction in the park, where a stranger criticizes Charlie and Oliver for not teaching Milo sign language.
Ugh, people can be so judgmental.
I know. It's like they think they know what's best.
Like they have all the answers.
Right. And this really gets to Charlie, makes her doubt herself even more.
It's like her insecurities are amplified.
They are. And you start to wonder how much of her resistance to the implants comes from her own fears about how society will treat Milo.
That's a good point. It's not just about the surgery itself, it's about the world he'll have to live in.
Exactly. And it's interesting how this contrasts with the support they get from Oliver's sister, River, and her kids.
So there's a mix of reactions within the family, too.
There is. Like River's son, Luke, he's so patient and understanding with Milo, but his sister, Maddie, She struggles a bit because Milo doesn't respond to her.
Yeah, that's realistic. Kids are curious, but they don't always know how to handle difference.
Right. And it's a chance for Oliver and Charlie to teach their kids about inclusivity and understanding.
Those early lessons are so important.
They are. It makes me think about how we talk to kids about these tough topics, you know?
Yeah.
How do we explain it in a way they can understand?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's tricky, right? Because you don't want to overwhelm them.
No, you got to find that balance.
Totally. Speaking of finding balance, remember that scene where Charlie's playing piano with those noise-canceling headphones on?
Oh, yeah. She's trying to experience what it's like for Milo, right?
Exactly. Like to really understand the silence he lives with.
I love that scene. It's such a powerful way for her to connect with him.
It is. And it's a turning point for her, too, don't you think?
Definitely. Before that, she was totally against the implants. But afterward, she starts to think differently.
Like maybe there's a way to give Milo access to sound without erasing his deafness.
Right. It's like she's finding a middle ground.
It shows how powerful experiences can be.
Totally. Sometimes you need more than just information. You need to feel it to really get it.
Exactly. And this whole experience leads to another interesting conversation between Oliver and Charlie, the debate about sign language.
Yeah, this is where they really start to grapple with how to raise Milo.
Right. And it's a debate that reflects a bigger societal tension, too, the pressure to fit in versus celebrating being different.
For sure. At first, Oliver's resistant to sign language. He wants Milo to be raised like they were surrounded by spoken language.
But Charlie sees it differently, right?
She does. After experiencing that silence, she understands that Milo's deafness is a part of him, not something to be fixed.
And she wants him to connect with deaf culture,
Exactly. It's like she's challenging Oliver to broaden his perspective.
to see things from a different angle.
Yeah. And you see this theme of adaptability popping up in Oliver's storyline, too. He's a basketball coach dealing with this player, Pat, who's acting out.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. He got benched and wasn't happy about it.
He wasn't. And I love how the author connects this back to Oliver's journey as a father.
It's like he's realizing there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
No, you got to be flexible and willing to learn as you go.
Life's full of curveballs, right?
It is. And instead of just punishing Pat, Oliver takes the time to understand him.
That's a good approach.
He finds this connection with Pat by sharing his own experiences as a young athlete.
So he's opening up, being vulnerable.
Yes. And through that connection, he's able to teach Pat a valuable lesson about respect and resilience.
It's a powerful example of mentorship.
Totally. And speaking of learning and growth, there's a big shift in Oliver's relationship with his own father, too.
Oh, yeah. They had a pretty strained relationship, didn't they?
They did. His dad really disapproved of his relationship with Charlie.
Classic generational clash.
It is. But then there's this really touching scene where Oliver's dad expresses how proud he is of him and his family.
Oh, that's sweet.
It is. It's like he's finally letting go of his judgments and just accepting them for who they are.
It shows that people can change and relationships can heal.
Exactly. But just when things are looking up, life throws them another curveball.
What happens?
Charlie finds out she's pregnant again.
Oh, wow. Talk about adding to the stress.
I know. And her anxiety goes through the roof. She's
Ah.
terrified about the surgery, and now she's dealing with another pregnancy on top of it.
Oliver's there for her, right?
He is. He doesn't dismiss her fears. He acknowledges them and reassures her that they'll face it together.
That's what a good partner does.
It is. They're a team.
They have to be with everything they're going through.
Exactly. And that teamwork is so important as they approach the day of the surgery.
So how does it go? Is Charlie a mess?
She is. She's so nervous, she even faints at one point.
Oh, wow. Poor Charlie.
But Oliver's right there with her the whole time, supporting her.
It's a reminder that we all need someone to lean on.
We do!
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that incredible moment when Milo wakes up after surgery and reacts to sound for the first time.
Oh, that must be so emotional.
It is. It's like a huge wave of relief washes over everyone.
Like they can finally breathe again.
Exactly. And it makes you think about all those sounds we take for granted.
Like hearing your loved ones' voices or listening to music.
Yeah. And it makes you appreciate the power of the human spirit to adapt and find joy even when things are hard.
It's a reminder that even the toughest journeys can lead to incredible transformations.
And speaking of transformations, that brings us to the final part of our deep dive where we'll see what happens after Milo's surgery and what the future holds for this amazing family. I mean, can you imagine that? Experiencing sound for the very first time?
It's like a whole new world opening up.
It is. But as we get into this last part of our deep dive, it's clear this isn't like the end of their story.
Oh, definitely not. It's just the beginning of a whole new chapter for them.
Right. And the novel shows us how adjusting to sound after a lifetime of silence, it's a process.
A long one, for sure.
It takes a lot of patience and understanding from everyone involved.
And there are going to be bumps in the road.
Like, there's this one scene where Milo just gets totally overwhelmed by all the new sounds and he just starts crying out of frustration.
It's heartbreaking, but it's real.
It is. It reminds us that this isn't a quick fix.
Yeah, cochlear implants are an amazing technology, but it's not that simple.
It's a journey.
Exactly.
And you really see Oliver and Charlie's dedication shine through.
They're in it for the long haul.
They are. They're learning right alongside Milo,
Adapting their parenting as he grows.
supporting him every step of the way.
It's such a powerful example of parental love.
It is. They're not just his parents. They're his biggest cheerleaders.
His guides in this new world.
It makes you think about all the ways parents adapt to support their kids through all kinds of challenges, you know?
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. And when the book jumps forward like 6 years, we see that Milo is thriving.
He's doing so well.
He's in a mainstream school.
He's talking and signing.
And he's got this special bond with a little girl named Ainsley, who's also deaf.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It is. And it brings us back to those themes of acceptance and inclusivity.
Right. Milo's not defined by his deafness.
He's embraced it.
And he's found his people.
He has. It's a great reminder that sometimes the things that make us different, they also connect us to others.
And it shows the importance of representation, of seeing yourself reflected in others.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes The Truth About Us so powerful.
It's a story about love, family, resilience.
And finding beauty in our own unique journeys.
It leaves you feeling hopeful
Inspired for sure.
and maybe even a little more aware of what other families are going through.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for a story that will stay with you, one that'll make you think and feel,
And maybe even see the world a little differently.
definitely check out The Truth About Us.
It's a must-read.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into this incredible story. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
It is a pleasure diving in with you.
Likewise. And to all our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world around you. See you next time.